Well, good morning. Jeffrey back. Finally going to get back at the 60. It always seems like when I get a delay and I get sidelined on something else, then it's hard to get back, but I got to get back at it now if I want to have it running for the shows in August. A couple weeks to get this done. You can see I have the manifold back, nicely machined. You can see where it was welded together. As you saw earlier, that was a big job. One of the issues was how to hold this manifold to machine it, and he called me and asked me if it was okay to drill a couple holes in two of these bosses. You see, otherwise they don't have any holes. I said, go ahead, that way you can get a hold of it good and solidly. And so he drilled and tapped. I can run bolts in them and cut them off flush, or else I wouldn't even have to do that because he didn't drill through and the clamps that hold the manifold on and cover them up. But I'll probably still run bolts in them, I'm not sure yet. So the exhaust manifold's about ready to go. Now I have to work at cleaning up the intake manifold. Clean off the mating surfaces here. And then I will go at putting them on the crawler to line the cylinder heads up. So I'm going to get at cleaning these gasket surfaces up. As you can see, they're cleaning up nicely. I'm going to get a sanding block now and finish them off. There they are, looking good. All those interesting little things. Here on the one flange, there's an E stamped in it. I can't imagine what that would have been meant for. Another somewhat interesting thing, if you see here, this line here is where the intake ports are on the heads. And look how much smaller the hole is in the manifold. So they weren't too worried about matching up port sizes in those days. So now I'm going to blow these out. You know, I want to clean through the inside of the intake manifold a little bit, and then I have to work at getting the heads ready, put studs in the head so that I can put these manifolds on and line the heads up. So we'll keep at it. Now, to ensure the intake manifold is clear, if it could have wasp nests in it or something, I'm put a washer on a string. I want to drop that through it and pull something through it. Maybe I need something heavier. Let's tie more on the string for more weight. Now, to ensure the inside the intake manifold is clear with no wasp nests or anything, I want to pull something through it. And there it is. I tied a couple nuts on the string. Now we're going to pull this through it, hopefully. Oh, that came so through easy. I'm confident it's all clear in there. So we're going to blow it out, and then I'll work at putting the manifolds on to line up the heads. Blow out the exhaust manifold. Time to carry the manifolds in by the tractor. Okay, here I am, ready to try lifting manifolds on. And if you remember, you can probably see it even from there, how the heads move on the studs. That's how come I have to have the heads loose and clamp the manifolds to the heads first to line the heads up with the manifolds so the gaskets seal good. So first I'm going to put the intake manifold up there. Now comes the hard part. See if I'm man enough yet to lift that exhaust manifold up into place. Oh! I think I'm going to have to do this differently. I think I have to put the exhaust manifold up first. Oh, that thing is heavy. The problem is my low ceiling. Is I can't stand above it. I have to kind of lift it above my shoulders. Well, I got that up there. A couple of these in there seem to help support it quite a bit until I get the intake manifold up. The reason I was going to do the intake first is I was hoping I could lift the exhaust up and work it underneath the control rod for the primer cups, but it's just too heavy for me to do that. So now I have to take this piece off in order to put it on, because this goes on the far side of the exhaust manifold. So I got to get this off. Now, I was eventually going to have to take this rod off anyway because of the amount of wear in here and in this piece, because when you pull it back to close the priming cups, it would go too far and it would leave the top open here a little bit, so dirt would get in it. So I was going to take this off eventually anyway to build up this wear mark so that those cups don't pivot too far when you close them, or those valves for the priming cups. So it had to come off anyway. I got the pins out, and now I can go back to putting the intake manifold on. Now I'm gonna attempt to get the intake manifold up in place there. So here it goes. So far it isn't working. So now I tied a twine on it up here to hold the manifold up. I think that's going to make all the difference. Now hopefully I can get the intake on. Put the clamps on. Oh. The hold down nuts. That's looking mighty fine. I gotta get a wrench to snug them down now, because now I'll be able to line the heads up with the manifolds. So I gotta go get a wrench. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but now I'm gonna start to tighten the clamps down. And you should see the manifold draw up to the heads. I'll go along down the line and tighten them all. All the heads are loose, so it should all draw tight together. Now I moved you up to cylinder number 1. I hope you can see how the head and manifolds draw together. I have them all drawn up. I have a 2000 feeler gauge, and see if that fits between the manifolds and the heads anywhere. Tight on that one, tight on that one, tight on both of them on number 2, and tight on both of them number 3. I couldn't get a feeler gauge in anywhere on any of the ports. So as I take the heads off now one at a time and seal them and tighten them down, I shouldn't have any worry with intake or exhaust manifold leaks, because I think they are lined up as good as they can possibly ever be lined up. So that'll be the next step, and I think I'm going to start at number 4 and work my way forward. I don't know if I'll be doing any more today. I should, but I just don't know if I will. I'll probably at least pull cylinder head number 4 off and get it ready to seal up the head gasket, because I'm going to start with number 4 and work my way forward. Because I'll pull the head off, then I'll put in all the head studs, put sealer on the head gasket, and then comes the job of lifting it up, the head again, up over the studs, which wouldn't be bad if I had more headroom in this shop and if I were about 20 years younger. But I'm going to try and get through today, but I'm not certain I will. If I don't, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy it.